The justice gap in America, it's important for us to care about because there's one attorney for every 525 people in this country. But for low-income people, there's only one attorney for every about 7,000 low-income people in this country. Every community has this justice gap. In Cleveland, the gap is even greater because we are the poorest city in the country. And while that statistic comes and goes, we go up and down, over 30% of the people in this city live in poverty. That's a huge number of people. All of them have legal problems. All of them have problems that are preventing them from being able to access more income, access more stable lives, access education, access the things that will help them move out of poverty.
Equal justice under the law is a great concept that the foundation of America was built on. And I guess we're still trying to dig down to the bottom of the foundation to make it come true.
I think it's the responsibility of the private bar to close that gap by doing a great deal of pro bono work for those who can't afford it in order to narrow that gap.
I'm a board member. I'm appointed by the Legal Aid Society to represent the low-income families in Lake County, Geauga County, and Ashtabula County. And in my service as a board member, I see distinct population issues that face each of those counties.
Lorain County, unfortunately, has its share of poor. So they have special problems, and you have to be able to meet and overcome those special problems. Well, bringing the office to them, people who really don't have the transportation available that you and I have available to us, it's very, very important.
At the Legal Aid Society, we represent people in 5 counties: Lorain, Cuyahoga, Lake, Geauga, and Ashtabula counties. In some ways, it's a very diverse region. We have the city of Cleveland, and we have very rural Ashtabula County. On the other hand, we represent low-income people, and most of the problems that they present are essentially the same. We have housing problems and domestic violence and family law problems, consumer problems, public benefits, wage problems. They're all pretty much the same, but by having local presence in those communities, we're able to address them in a different way. We are the 5th oldest legal aid in the world. And it's interesting when you look at the annual reports and the information that we have from 100 years ago, a lot of that work is the same work we're doing today. Representing immigrants, representing people to get their paychecks, representing people in consumer issues. The laws have changed, and a lot of the laws are much better now, but it's really about serving the basic needs and addressing systemic problems.
Poor people just don't have access to the courts as they should. Now, we in America think that we provide that, but we don't. Legal aid is the vehicle that makes sure that they are represented. And no legal aid, no representation. I think that sums it up.
I think everyone should be able to have access to the best lawyers possible. And I think legal aid and the lawyers who work at legal aid are the absolute best at what they do.
We know how it applies to our clients. Oftentimes courts don't. We're oftentimes the teachers or the professors for the courts because obviously one forum can't know everything, and since we represent a certain clientele, we have a mastery over a certain area, and we usually can provide kind of a teaching moment for courts. And then they can take that teaching moment that happened for our client and apply it to the many people that don't come to our door. So it's kind of the ripple effect.
When we go into court or to any type of hearing, we're prepared because we understand the law, we understand how the law will affect their situation.
I became involved as a board member of Legal Aid because I was a staff attorney right out of law school with Legal Aid. And I look back on that time as a blessing, and that really molded and shaped me and made me into who I am as an attorney, but in many ways made me into who I am as a person. And you get to a place, perhaps in life, perhaps in your career, where you have that sense that you want to give back, a humility or a humbleness. And I was ecstatic and eager to serve on the Board of Trustees when asked to do so.
I am surprised by the commitment of the individuals who are here. Did you hear me? I am surprised by the commitment of these people. It's not just a job. And look around here and some of these guys who've been here for years and women who've been for years, you know they could go other places. But it's a commitment, it's a dedication.
The goal was to help the individual. Okay, we weren't worrying about billing the hours or who would be billed or whatnot. We were trying to come up with a solution. And that's just the nature of legal aid. It's a community.
Here at Legal Aid, it's not just the staff comprised of attorneys, it's the secretaries, it's the paralegals, it's the assistants, it's the whole infrastructure. People stay, and they have many, many reasons that they can go, other than a true commitment to doing what they're doing, helping the poor, but I think it's so beyond that. I think it fills a part of a person's spirit, a person's soul, in a way that they can get up in the morning and every day know that there's a purpose to what they're doing, and it's a purpose beyond helping one person.
In a city that's the poorest city in the country, it's a particular challenge to figure out where should we focus our resources. And we could try to give a little piece to as many people as we can, but instead what we've decided to do is really try to focus on changing people's lives, doing the kind of work that will really impact on an individual or a family or a community. The strategic plan really set out a few really major things for us. One, we need to reach out even more to underserved populations. And that means really improving our ability to serve people who don't speak English, to serve people who have other barriers to coming to us and other barriers to the justice system. And also to really take a look at what we're doing and how we're doing and set up systems so that we can periodically change things that aren't working that we thought would and continue the things that are working well. So that's really what the strategic planning process, I think, did for us.
I see this organization as being fully engaged, not only in the community, but in the bar. That every lawyer in Cleveland not only knows of legal aid, but is intimately familiar with the lawyers and staff at Legal Aid and their programs.
You don't want to lose sight of why you went to law school, and that was to help people. And I think that's what that feeling is about. I think it's a very good feeling. It's a feeling of fairness. It's a feeling of satisfaction. It's a feeling that you have done something to advance society, and you've helped somebody.
Those of us who work at the Legal Aid Society are really fortunate to be able to spend our careers doing this work. But we can't do this alone. And we need partnership in so many ways. We need organizations that will work with us. We need people who will donate to us. We need volunteers. We need partnership.
There's so many ways, depending on what an individual lawyer has to give, that they can give. And I think it's only in giving something back that you truly feel what you already have. And so to think that giving is just giving and nothing comes back from that is a fallacy that can be abruptly and immediately overcome by a day at Legal Aid. And I think it's just a beautiful, beautiful way for a group of attorneys to work together under the tutelage of very, very organized, well put together programs and structures on how we provide these services. And the feeling is what says it all. Words can't do justice for what it feels like to be surrounded by that energy as you're helping one small, tiny person at a time with a question about an eviction or a divorce, something that seems so small. You get a true sense that it's so much larger than that. And to see that and be a part of that, you'll never be the same.
When people come to us, they usually are wounded in some fashion or another. They've been excluded, their dignity has been stepped on, they are frightened about what's going to happen to them. Since I do housing, I have a lot of people that are really terrified about the prospect of being homeless. And we are able to help them understand that in our eyes, they are entitled to the full dignity of a human being. And human beings live in houses. And so we're able to protect shelter or help people obtain shelter. And that restores their humanity because they understand that they are valued.
The first experience with the legal aid was with my divorce, and that was 1974. We're looking at, about 33 years ago. Without their intervention, I had no job. I was unemployed, and I had no way of being able to support myself at the time. It just amazed me. They even took my case in the first place.
They're so thankful, and we forget that they're used to having one door after another slammed in their face, and to come in a door and someone say, Sure, we'll help you. It's transformative, absolutely transformative, and the pride in their eyes when they say, this is my lawyer. Something they never thought they'd be able to say.
He got up and defended me, got an extension of time, and I was able to save my house, and that meant my children could live at home. I was truly at the end of the road in my life. I think if the legal aid had refused to accept my case, I think I would have gone to the city mission, and I would tell my children, listen, you gotta forget about school, and whatever you do, get a room, anything, we have to split up. But you know, the legal aid provided, I think I should use the word hope, because first I got my freedom, and then I ended up getting a wonderful job, which is the one I have now, and where I've been there 30 years now in 4 months. Once I made a decision to retire, I'm thinking, I don't want to party. I want something that will help someone else now. I would like for them, instead of buying me a gift, and send a donation to the Legal Aid Society. Look how many other people that's going to help. You know, if you want a better society, you got to give back. You can't grab, oh, I got mine. You can't do that. You can't.
The problems that face the low-income families are heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, devastating. But legal aid is none of those things. Legal aid is alive, it's well, it's dedicated, it's invigorated, and it's a place where you go and donate your time, do a pro bono clinic, do a brief service clinic, and the energy and the love and the dedication is just uplifting and rewarding beyond any single case that an attorney could do on their own.
Martin Luther King said that, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. And I think that deals with a fundamental principle in our society of equality, of equal opportunity, of equal access to justice. And that's really what this organization is about.
We've been around over 100 years. We're gonna be around another 100 years. We're not an organization that is in crisis or has to constantly be searching for next month. We are an organization that is growing to meet a huge need. And with each step in that growth, we do that thoughtfully and we do it well.
I have a quote from Yoko Ono, and the quote is, if you dream alone, it's only a dream. If you dream with others, it's reality. So what I say to those that aren't involved, if you want to make a just community a reality, and why wouldn't you, everyone benefits, come and work with others to create that just community. Come and live out the values, come out and live your passion, be a part of making a difference.